The neighbor watched from her window as the teenage girl, frail and trembling, stepped onto the street. Her clothes hung loosely from her small frame, and she clutched a cell phone like a lifeline. She had never seen the girl before, and in this quiet neighborhood, that was unusual. But soon the world would know this girl as a hero. Jordan Turpin, 17, had never experienced a normal life. Her parents, Louise and David Turpin, isolated their children from the outside world. The children were homeschooled and forbidden from venturing beyond the front door. Despite the apparent normality of suburban Paris, California, the Turpin household was anything but ordinary, cloaked in secrecy and fear. The Turpin children were polite yet withdrawn, rarely seen by neighbors. They shared a deep bond, forged in the adversity they faced daily. Jordan, the brave soul who made the 911 call, shared a love for music and a dream of becoming a singer. Her siblings described her as a beacon of hope, always finding ways to lift their spirits through song and imagination. Little did anyone know that behind closed doors, the Turpin children were enduring unimaginable horrors. Inside that modest house, a nightmare unfolded that would horrify the nation. On January 14, 2018, Jordan seized a rare moment of opportunity. She had overheard her parents discussing plans to move the family to Oklahoma. The fear of losing her chance at freedom propelled her into action. With trembling hands, she dialed 911 and delivered a message that would change everything. Her siblings were being held captive, chained, and starved. Authorities arrived at the Turpin residence within minutes. What they discovered inside defied comprehension. 12 of the 13 siblings were malnourished, their growth stunted. Some were shackled to beds, immobile and weak. The home reeked of neglect and decay, filled with filth and clutter. The scene was so shocking that first responders struggled to process the reality before them. David and Louise Turpin were outwardly unremarkable. David, a computer engineer, appeared as a hard-working if somewhat aloof man. Louise, a homemaker, was often seen running errands, blending seamlessly into the fabric of suburban life. They presented a facade of normalcy, posting smiling family photos on social media. To outsiders, they were the picture of a happy, large family. But the truth was far more sinister. The children were systematically abused, with strict rules governing their every move. They were allowed one meal a day and bathed once a year. Physical punishment was routine, and the psychological abuse was relentless. Louise and David exercised complete control, using isolation and starvation as tools of power. As the investigation unfolded, horrifying details emerged. Authorities learned that the children were rarely allowed outside and had never seen a dentist. Some had never been to school or the doctor, their existence hidden from the world. Prosecutors argued that the Turpins' treatment of their children was methodical and deliberate, a twisted form of control masked as parenting. Neighbors struggled to reconcile the smiling couple they knew with the monsters revealed by the investigation. The home stood as a silent witness to years of torment, its walls echoing with the cries of children who knew only suffering. The question loomed: how had such horrific abuse gone unnoticed for so long? David and Louise Turpin were arrested that January day, charged with multiple counts of torture, child abuse, and false imprisonment. As the case against them built, the children began to experience life outside their prison for the first time. They discovered sunlight, tasted food without restriction, and felt the touch of kindness from strangers. Their world was expanding, but the trauma of their past lingered. In the courtroom, the Turpins' facade crumbled under the weight of overwhelming evidence. Witnesses testified about the conditions within the house, painting a picture of desperation and bravery. Yet the children's resilience shone through, their testimonies highlighting the strength born from shared suffering. Jordan's call to 911 became the catalyst for their liberation, a moment of courage that shattered years of silence. Her bravery not only saved her siblings but exposed a chilling reality. Unimaginable horrors can hide in plain sight. But what investigators found that night would change everything. We will get to that. Investigators delved into the Turpins' twisted world, piecing together a timeline of abuse that spanned years. They uncovered a bizarre family dynamic where the facade of a large, happy family masked a reality steeped in cruelty. As authorities sifted through the evidence, the scope of the horror became evident. The children's accounts painted a grim picture of life inside what would later be called the House of Horrors. Authorities discovered that David and Louise Turpin meticulously planned the abuse, controlling every aspect of their children's lives. They set strict schedules, dictating when the children could eat, sleep, or even speak. Evidence showed homeschooling was a sham. The children were given outdated textbooks but received no real education. Despite their ages, most of them remained trapped in an early childhood level of literacy and comprehension. Perhaps the most chilling discovery was the chain and padlock system used to restrain the children. Investigators found these chains bolted to bed frames, some with handcuffs still attached. These makeshift prisons were designed to keep the children compliant and helpless. Photographic evidence presented in court showed the pitiful conditions. Mattresses stained and tattered, toys strewn across floors thick with dust, and windows covered with black curtains to muffle the outside world. A striking detail emerged about the children's physical state. Doctors noted that the siblings suffered from severe malnutrition, with some displaying muscle wasting and delayed growth. The eldest child, a 29-year-old woman, weighed only 82 pounds. This revelation shocked the courtroom and highlighted the extent of the abuse. The investigators unearthed family photos posted on social media, staged images of smiling faces that contrasted starkly with the reality of their suffering. As the investigation continued, a rewatch moment that left audiences frozen was the interview footage of Jordan describing her parents' manipulation. She spoke of how her parents would bring home toys, gifts, and sweets, only to place them in sight but out of reach, a cruel taunt that reinforced their power. This tactic was part of a regime designed to instill hopelessness and dependence. But how did David and Louise Turpin sustain this charade for so long? Evidence showed they moved frequently to evade suspicion, each relocation accompanied by a new story to explain their reclusive lifestyle. They told neighbors they were a homeschooling family focused on faith and discipline, deflecting any scrutiny with carefully crafted lies. A crucial breakthrough came when investigators found a series of journals written by the children, hidden within the cluttered rooms. These diaries contained heartbreaking entries chronicling their daily struggles and dreams of freedom. The journals became key pieces of evidence, their handwritten scrawls an unfiltered glimpse into the Turpins' calculated cruelty. The prosecution argued that the Turpins were cunning manipulators, adept at deceiving those around them. Even extended family members, who occasionally visited, described the couple as strict but loving. Yet, these visits were infrequent, and during them, the children were on their best behavior, coached to thank their parents and praise their upbringing. Then came the biggest reveal, a revelation so disturbing it sparked endless discussions. Evidence showed the Turpins planned to flee to Oklahoma, abandoning their older children in California. Investigators found a document outlining a plan to move only the younger children, leaving the older ones to fend for themselves. This insidious plan exposed their utter disregard for their children's well-being, aiming to shed the burden of those they deemed unsalvageable. Today, the Turpins face life sentences, their convictions a solemn testament to the children's strength. The siblings, now in foster care, are learning to navigate a world that was once forbidden to them. They attend school, receive medical care, and begin the long journey of healing. Their story resonates far beyond their suburban enclave, highlighting the dark possibility that abuse can hide in plain sight, masked by smiles and community civility. Yet one haunting question remains. How many others are suffering unnoticed, trapped behind closed doors, their cries for help echoing in silence? The Turpin case serves as a chilling reminder that evil can thrive in the shadows, waiting for the courage of a single voice to bring it into the light.